What's up YouTube? KS Gun Guy. Thanks for stopping in, and if you like what you see, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and join me on Facebook at KS Gun Guy. I'm excited to show you the Sig Sauer P320 RX with the Romeo 1 red dot sight, and you see in front of you both the compact and the subcompact versions of the P320 as well. I've learned over doing these videos or reviews that the P320 is a very popular firearm. And there are lots of reasons why. Be sure to check out my other reviews on both the subcompact and the compact guns. They're both absolutely fantastic guns. This won't be a comprehensive review on either one, and frankly, it won't be a comprehensive review on the full size, really. I'll talk a little bit about specs, but it's more talking about how it comes with the Romeo 1 package and the sights that come on it, and what you can expect if you decide you want to go ahead and go with the RX version of the full size. So I'm going to get these two guys out of the way. I'll bring them back just briefly here in a little while. So this is the full-size P320, and this one does have the stainless steel top. This is actually the Cabela's version, and I went with this for a couple of reasons. First, it was much easier to find, to be honest with you, but also I really like the combination of the silver on the black, so I just decided to go with that. Now, of course, this is unloaded. So what makes this different, or what makes this special versus just a full-size P320? Well, there are a couple of things, and obviously the big standout on this is going to be the Sig Romeo sight. So I'll talk a little bit about the specs on the sight and the quality that I have found, at least so far, on the red dot. But what is the overall layout of the gun? How does it shape up? So just some real quick specs here. For the overall length on the full size, it's going to be 8 inches long. The height is going to be 6.3 inches. The width on it is going to be 1.4 inches. The barrel is 4.7 inches. The weight on it, unloaded with an empty magazine, is 29.5 ounces. Now this, like its other siblings, does have a nitron finish on the slide. And the trigger, according to Sig Sauer's website, is 6.5 pounds. And I'll talk a little bit more about the trigger, because you'll notice that this one looks a little bit different than a stock trigger. And then the magazines, it does come with two 17-round magazines. That's going to be a little bit different from the compact, which comes with 15. And of course, the subcompact is 12-round magazines. It does only come with 2. I've said in other reviews, I really wish guns would just automatically come with 3. I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way. Sadly, that's not the case. But we'll talk a little bit more about kind of value, what you can expect from this, rather than going out and maybe piecing some of this out. So we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Now, with the full size, with the RX, it does come with, and I love this feature, it comes with night sights, and not only that, there's suppressor height night sights. So they do co-witness with the optic, and I don't know how well you can see this, but hopefully you can see it a little bit. Those are some pretty tall sights, and there is just a little bit of a cutout in the Romeo red dot right down the middle to help with that co-witnessing. This is really my first foray or exploration into red dots. I know a lot of you are way ahead of the game from me in this, but I wanted to make sure that I had iron sights to fall back on and to help kind of learn with the red dot, because it is a very different experience. I'll be wheeling in some shooting here in just a little bit and show you the fumbling around I've done on the range with this. The gun itself, of course, it's a P320, and it shoots like a P320. It's got a great trigger and all of those things that you can expect from any of the P320s. So from that standpoint, it's very consistent, and I really like shooting the P320. With the red dot, there is a little bit of a learning curve. So again, you'll see that in the shooting that I pull in, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. So A couple of other basic features on this. It is full size. It does come with the accessory rail for lights, lasers, grenade launchers, things like that. And the other controls are exactly the same. You've got your takedown lever, and this is the kind of version 1.5 or whatever you want to call it. It is the more flat takedown lever versus, and I'll show you the subcompact here in a little bit, has the little bit beefier takedown lever. I like this one quite a bit. It does thin the profile out just a little. And it also has the again, I'll call it the version 1.5 slide release, so just a little bit smaller, a little bit less sticking out or protruding, but certainly very easy to actuate. In fact, with the P320, I don't do over-the-hand slide racks. I actually use this instead for it, so I really like that option. It is ambidextrous for the slide release, and you can turn around the magazine release as well, so that can also be ambi. So it's nice to have some ambidextrous controls with this if you're a lefty. So the trigger on this, this is not a stock trigger. This is actually an Apex trigger, and I did install it myself. Now you can certainly find some great tutorials on how to do it, and that's actually what I used to do it. I will tell you, it was a pain. It was not as easy as some of those guys made it look. I've done a lot of work on guns over the years, especially Glocks, and my confidence level was very high walking into it. Thought, you know, no big deal. It's just taking out a spring, removing a bar, you're good to go. Well, the bar is the easy part. The spring was not. It took some patience and some very choice words to get it in, but I did get it. And although this is not a review on this trigger, I will tell you it's a very nice trigger. I've shot it with both the stock and the Apex trigger, and I don't have any film of the Apex trigger. I've only done 3 range sessions with this so far, so about 700 rounds or so with it. But the Apex trigger is great. It does not reduce the poundage, so 6.5 pounds, if that's what they're saying from Sig, I imagine it's going to fall right around there. I don't have a trigger gauge. That's on the wish list, so hopefully I'll get one here soon. But what it does is it allows for, and again, unloaded, it allows just for a little bit more, and I don't know if we want to call it a fulcrum, but it does make the trigger just a little bit easier to depress. Now, one thing I found, and it could be my installation, it could be that it needs to be broken in a little bit, it's a little bit more gritty in the take-up than the standard trigger. Not by much at all, but just a tiny bit. I don't think that inhibits shooting at all. I didn't notice it too, but is it really worth the money? Is it worth doing? You know, if you like a flatter trigger, sure, probably. It wasn't very expensive, but I probably wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it on the other two because it just doesn't, to me, it doesn't make that much of a difference. Maybe there's a little bit of a cool factor in there, but anyways, your mileage may vary, but that is what it looks like with the Apex trigger in it. So the Romeo, let's see if I can turn this on. I don't know how well you're going to actually be able to see it on camera, but it is on. So we'll talk a little bit about the Romeo 1 red dot, and this is a Sig branded red dot here. So there's some really nice features with the Romeo red dot. Of course, it does come with a little shield that you can put over it to protect it when you're not using it, which is really nice. Another feature of the red dot, it's on right now. I've got the cover on it, and after about 2 minutes or so, it actually turns itself off to save battery life, which is really, really nice. I did buy some extra batteries, I think, on Amazon. I think it was like a 5-pack for maybe $8 or something, which is fine. I imagine I'll be using this quite a bit, especially in the beginning as I'm trying to get used to the red dot sight. But it is nice that it has an auto off, just in case you accidentally leave it on. And aside from the auto off, it also does have 5 different settings on it. So it's got extremely bright all the way to pretty dim, and I like it on not the dimmest setting, but the next dimmest setting. That seems to work just fine for me. I can pick it up without too much of a problem at all. So it seems very robust and very good quality construction. I've read some other reviews on some of the Romeo red dot sites, not only the Romeo 1, but they've got several other ones as well, and all the reviews seem to be very positive for this. So So it seems to be a very good, very robust red dot sight. A couple of other features of it. It is top loading, which is fantastic. You don't have to remove the whole red dot to change out the battery. That to me seems to be a real pain. I'm sure it's doable, not that big of a deal, but it's nice to be able to use the top loading feature. I'm going to grab this tool. This tool actually came with the firearm, and it's got several tools. It does have one to adjust the red dot if you do need to adjust it, although they do sight it in at the factory, and I found it to be dead on, at least for my shooting. I'm not a precision shooter, but it seems to me to be dead on where I'm aiming. But then on the other side of it, you can actually extend this little wand here, and that actually it's kind of a plastic screwdriver, but it goes into the battery housing, so you can take the battery housing out. But a small screwdriver would of course work just as well. It is weatherproof, they say. I don't think I would dunk it in a pool or anything like that, but I did see the O-ring, the rubber O-ring or gasket, whatever you want to call it, in the battery door, so it is at least weatherproof. So if you're out and it starts to rain and you're shooting with this, you should be good to go. It shouldn't be a problem at all. So the gun also does come with, again, the suppressor height night sights, which I think is a fantastic value. So speaking of value, very quickly, I picked this up. It was just over $800 at Cabela's after tax. And so I look at it like this. A standard full-size P320 is going to fall around the $600 or thereabouts, depending on where you are and depending on who you get it from. But I have found them usually around the $600 mark with steel night sights, and you probably get it for a little bit less if it had non-night sights or no tritium inserts, just the white dots. But then the red dot, I think it retails for around $350. That's based on the research I did, some of the different reviews. I don't think I found it on the Sig website, but $350. So if you kind of add all of this up, you're really looking at closer to $1,000 worth of gun, and getting it for a little over $800. I consider that a great value. Plus, you're getting a good quality firearm. The P320 has really established itself as a very worthy opponent, or whatever you want to call it, competition to some of its other polymer striker fired firearms out there on the market. So it's a really great value out there. I'm not going to take it apart. Again, if you want to see the P320s taken apart, check out my other videos on that. I will have posted some sort of links to those videos. But it does come with the same modular trigger system, which is the registered firearm. So, of course, you can take it out and put it into a whole nother gun, any 9mm, 40, 357. It does not go into a 45. That's a separate trigger mechanism just because of the size of the 45 round, I imagine. And I don't know if the frame size might be a little bit different on the 45. I don't have any experience with the 45 version. But, again, it's interchangeable with the other ones. So if you wanted to buy the package that has maybe the subcompact with the barrel, the slide, the frame, and a magazine, and the guide rod, of course, then you could plop this trigger into that and you'd be good to go. It would be nice simply from a consistency standpoint, you'd be used to the same trigger. Or if you just wanted to change out this slide, perhaps you wanted the FDE slide, and maybe you have the black top or the silver top or whatever it happens to be. You can mix and match, what have you. So it's the same features that come with the other P320s, with the exception of the tall sights and the Romeo 1. So my experience with the Romeo 1, again, I've certainly found it to be very well sighted in from the factory. I haven't had to do any adjustments from that standpoint. The adjustments have had to be made just from a shooting standpoint. Those of you who have shot red dots, I'm sure you know that there's a bit of a learning curve. It's just a different methodology or way of thinking of shooting rather than using your iron sights. So I'm still really getting used to it. What I found, especially the first maybe 3 or 4 magazines, I found to be shooting low. And according to the guys at Centerfire Shooting Sports, where I shoot, they were saying that's just how you're compensating for the red dot versus the iron sights, and the fact that you're using, I guess, one plane as a sight rather than the two sights to balance each other out. I'm sure there's a more scientific explanation than that, but that seemed to make sense to me. So over the course of several shooting sessions, I really tried to slow down, which, if you've seen my other videos, is a struggle for me to do. I like to shoot kind of quick. I've had to slow down and had to really concentrate on the red dot and try and be a little bit more steady, because I'm getting older. I'm not as steady as I used to be, but just to try and use that red dot and be comfortable with where it shoots and how it shoots, and how I kind of make it move around when I'm manipulating the trigger or what have you. So I think it'll be an ongoing learning process. I've actually got a Glock 19 MOS. It's going to be a project gun, and I'll do some reviews on that over the course of the year on my development with that. Right now it's just a plain Jane MOS, but I'm excited to do a red dot on it as well, and learn a little bit more about the red dots and shooting with that, and getting some more practice. So again, overall, I mean, this has been a lot of fun. It's been a really neat experience. I can't wait to continue to learn and grow with this. A couple more quick things, and then I do want to wheel in some shooting. This is not going to be a terribly long video, like I said. The gun came with the two 17-round magazines. Now you'll see that one of the magazines here is a little bit different. I was able to find this. It was an open box item at Cabela's, and I think I got it for $30, so it was kind of a steal. I think these are normally around $45 or so, but it's kind of cool looking. It's a 22-round extended magazine, and it is by Sig, so it's got the same grip texture on it, and I think it's a pretty good looking magazine. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I did buy a couple of other 17-round magazines, because they're interchangeable with the other two P320s, and I know I'll be using this quite a bit, and perhaps maybe one day down the road doing a little bit of competing once I'm more comfortable with it. But anyways, so enough about me rambling on. Let's take a look at some shooting, and let's see how this does. All right, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the footage at the range. So you'll see I put a block of wood under this, and the reason is I do want to do a little bit of comparison so you have an idea of where the full-size Sig stacks up to its compact and its subcompact counterparts. But I wanted to make sure that, that I accounted for the RMR and didn't let that get in the way. So actually, before I do that, just for the sake of argument, of course, both of these two are unloaded. But always good habit to do that on camera. Why not? So the full size, how does the full size stack up? And this may be a tiny bit awkward because of the block of wood. Sorry about that. How does it stack up to the compact? I'm going to try and line these up the best I can here. So I don't have the specs of the compact and the subcompact with me, so I'm going to be kind of eyeballing this a little bit. But obviously, the frame of the compact is going to be shorter all the way around. So I'm going to ballpark a ½ an inch to a little bit more than a ½ an inch of the overall length, and the grip size. I'm going to say it's probably a ½ an inch, maybe a little bit less than a ½ an inch. And of course, the compact is a 15-round magazine, or standard holds 15-round magazines, so you do lose the 2 rounds with the compact. Brief note about the compact: if you've seen my compact video, the full video, I made one quick change to this. I did go with a black frame. I think that looks really cool. It kind of broke up the full FDE, and it actually makes the frame look almost more copper than FDE, so I thought that was kind of cool. Just another example of how you can mix and match the frames and really kind of customize your gun to your liking. I did stick with the medium frame on that, by the way. And the subcompact, how does it stack up? See, again, if I can line these up about as well as possible here. So we're looking at about an inch difference in the overall length of the subcompact. That's right about an inch there. And then on the height, I'm going to say it's an inch, maybe just a tiny bit more than an inch. And of course, it's going to be a 12-round magazine in the subcompact, so it makes sense that it would be a smaller frame. Now, from a width standpoint, all 3 of them are the same width, so I'm not going to hold it up from a width standpoint. Quick update on the subcompact, if you've seen that review. This started out with a black frame, and then I went with the FDE small frame. It was right around the holidays, so it was almost impossible to find the medium frame. I did a Springfield Armory XD Mod 2 review just a little while ago, a week or 2 ago, and the grip on that was so fantastic. When I came back to this, that small grip was just anemic. I couldn't do it. So thankfully, stocks have started to come back with the different grips on some of the online retailers. So I actually switched it out. They let me send the other one back, and I got the medium frame for this. I don't really care about the accessory rail, but it is much more comfortable. I'm really excited, and this is actually going to replace my Glock 26 as my EDC, so I'm excited for that as well. This just worked out really nicely. So enough about those 2 guys right there. So overall, what do I think of this gun? I think it's absolutely fantastic. I've been blown away by the P320 line in general. Obviously, I've got all 3 here. I collected the whole set. And it's just been fantastic. And with the addition of the Romeo, let's get this out of the way, with the red dot, it's been a really fun experience, and I had no interest in getting a full-size P320, but with these options on it, with the high sights and the Romeo, that really sold me, and I like the look of it as well. I like that stainless steel top, so it's been a great purchase. I've been very excited about it, and we'll continue to shoot it and continue to learn. I'll update you as I kind of go along, especially when I get that Glock MOS going. So. YouTube, thanks very much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this, and please be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Join me on Facebook at KS Gun Guy, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.